I've been doing a lot of SEO research, and as you know, that's search engine optimization, and that's the best way to get found these days. Hi, I'm Bonnie Paulson, and welcome back to Finding Your Indie, and today we're talking about advertising as defined by authors. Now, in my SEO research, what's hilarious is a lot of people are actually searching up these keywords. Advertising by authors defined, the definition of advertising by authors, marketing defined by authors and for authors, like all kinds of them. Now, it's kind of ironic to me that the people who actually need a specific kind of marketing actually need to have it defined for themselves. And I don't think it's ironic in like the actual sense of the word ironic, but I think it more comes down to the fact that we're hoping that someone can tell us what we're doing, what we should be doing, and how to do it right. I know a lot of authors are trying to find the magic unicorn or the magic, pill, or take the magic step that everybody else is hiding. And there really isn't anything like that. We're going to talk about quite a few things in this video. And the first and most important thing that I want to make sure that you are aware of before we get into the whole advertising as defined by authors topic is the magic pill that you think everybody has. It's not actually a pill. It's not actually like a click button. It's not a unicorn. It's nothing like specific. Yeah, I believe that there's a lot of luck that goes into the author industry. I really do. But I do believe that you will increase your chances, increase your odds, increase the probabilities of your success than possibilities by putting a few things into place first. The first one I think you should know is that consistency across the board is going to be what will drive everything else out of balance. And I mean in a good way. If you are consistently releasing books, consistently delivering to the same brand, consistently meeting reader expectations, you will surpass the majority of authors who are not doing those things. How do I know this? Bonnie, let's speak from experience. So Bonnie has a lot of pen names. Now, if Bonnie had stuck to one pen name, maybe 2 or 3 pen names instead of 14, Bonnie's original pen names probably would have been a lot more successful, and Bonnie probably wouldn't have burnt out as quickly. If you want to see previous videos on that, just go ahead and check in our video list. I have a lot of videos about what happened when I burnt out and why I had to back off of writing for at least a year. That's okay, but I've learned from my mistakes, and hopefully I can help you prevent some of the same things. So some of the hard things that happen when you are trying to be consistent is you do get burnout. I got sick of writing Western romances. I got sick of it, and because I write sweet ones, it was the same thing over and over. And I even mixed up tropes and different plot twists and different ideas, and you still get a little burnout when you're churning out the same book. It feels like over and over. But that's what consistency is all about, right? And so you have to keep your end goal in mind as you're trying to deliver consistency. Okay, so let's just say that the entire rest of the conversation that we have today is understood that you're delivering consistently, okay? So let's just assume that's happening. Then when we go forward, we're assuming we're staying consistent in all the things. And so then the rest of it is just ways to increase your probability since you're being consistent, okay? So let's talk about how advertising is defined by authors. The first thing that you need to understand when you're advertising, and this is for any industry, not just for advertisers, but for any industry, you need to understand who your buyer is. And even if you're giving them a magnet, a freebie, they're still a buyer, okay? They've bought into the freebie part. They've bought into that part of the funnel, but they're still a buyer. So we need to consider our readers as buyers. Okay, so with this mentality in mind, let's say we have a summer dress business. Like this is literally what their business is focused on, is summer dresses. That's what they're selling. That's the only thing they make. They don't make winter dresses. They don't make fall dresses or spring dresses. They literally make summer dresses. And they're beautiful. They're amazing. They look great. They're the best summer dresses in the world. If they try to sell those summer dresses to somewhere like Alaska in winter, they literally don't understand who their buyer or client is, or customer or reader. Okay, they don't, because you're trying to sell outside. What would be appropriate for them to make sure that they're not just getting sales in summer in the United States? Probably branch outside the world, right? Market to Australia, because their winter is going to be during our summer and their summer is during our winter. Maybe market it as, hey, ways to make it evergreen would be Here's a pair of, pantaloons. Great ways to make your summer dresses warm, like all kinds of things that you can do. But they have to understand who their buyer is and what their goal is with their own company before they can actually start marketing to them. Now, we've talked about this a lot. You have to identify your reader. If your reader is a gentleman who prefers like high fantasy, high science fiction, military books, think like Avatar style, Star Trek-y, like that kind of thing, right? Why would you be targeting them for young adult romance? You wouldn't, right? In fact, I can see you sitting there and you're going, why would you? You would be surprised at how many people think that it is appropriate to target everybody because they want all of the readers. I don't care who you want. What your readers want is something that is written for them. And the marketing message needs to tell the correct reader that you've written this for them. Okay, so I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's actually like one of the most fundamental basics of marketing and advertising is understanding who you're giving the message to. You literally do not want to send out a message to the entire world when the half of the population isn't even interested. Okay, so let's start talking a little bit more about what some of these things are. So for instance, you need to understand who your reader is. You understand who your reader is. I can't tell you who your reader is because you need to understand that, right? And we'll have videos coming up on how to use ad performance and other performance analytics to help you identify some of those demographics so that you can target down tighter in your advertising and marketing efforts. But for right now, we're focusing literally on just how to define what your advertising should be from an author standpoint, okay? So let's say you've identified who your reader is. My reader's name is going to be Mary, and I know Mary's demographics because they're specific for my reader, and I have done very specific studying and research and a lot of time getting to know who my readers are. Okay, so the next thing is that actually ties into understanding your reader and understanding the goal of your product. Like, what are you doing to market your? Are you doing a free book literally to start a funnel? Okay, that's great. That's awesome. There is nothing wrong with free books. Long-term game is the best way to play. However, are you truthfully advertising? Okay, so this is where it's going to get kind of ranty. And if this is you, you're getting called out. The first thing is, are you putting your books in the correct categories? I don't care if it's on Amazon. I don't care if it's on Draft to Digital. I don't care if it's on Apple, Kobo, on your own site. If you're on like a subscription service, I don't care. Are you identifying it as the correct category? Because if you're not, you are not being honest to your audience, okay, or your potential audience. So if you're advertising something as a paranormal cozy mystery and it's actually, I don't know, what's something completely opposite of that, Amish romance, well, that's completely different than the paranormal cozy mysteries, wouldn't you think? Okay, so if you're not being honest, then what you're doing, if you're not being honest in your marketing efforts, then what you're doing is you're literally wasting your time and your money and their time and their money. And you might be getting negative reviews. You might be getting worse algorithm performance. Check out our video on algorithms and how to use them from an author's perspective to help you push your things, push your books and push your products, all of your products. But those are things that can happen when you are not being honest in your marketing efforts. Another one that I had was I saw this person, about 6 to 8 months ago, and they said, well, my book has a lot of sex in it, but I'm putting in there that it's clean. It's a clean read, which is, if you've been in the industry for any length of time, you know that clean and wholesome is usually referencing like no sex, no bad language, not too high angsty, right? Like we're still kind of middle grade, a little bit lower than that. Like it's enough that you and your grandma could sit down and read it and there'd be no blushing. Okay, clean and wholesome. Sometimes it can even be identified as inspirational, whatever. Over time, this has actually evolved to where, sweet used to be synonymous with clean and wholesome and so on and so forth. But now it's kind of like where sweet has taken on the tone of the story. And now it's like spicy heat level, the little spice, little bit of spice, lots of spice, habanero spicy, like whatever. But if this author was advertising, I'm going to advertise it as clean. And I was like, I don't think you should do that. There's lots of... Let's just put it this way. Habanero spicy would have been cold compared to the way that these books were written. And she said, no, it's not a big deal. Well, she was advertising it and her book had a lot of negative reviews, like bad reviews, because she wasn't completely honest. So I really appreciate when I go to a product page, like for instance, if I'm going to Sci-Fi Romance and I see someone's product page and at the bottom of the blurb, it's really simple. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it's in italics and it says, this is appropriate for mature readers, 18 and older. That tells me what I'm looking for and it's honest, right? And sometimes I would even recommend putting that like in the ads space or in the newsletter or something where the people, before they even make the effort of going over and wasting your click money, it identifies what they're getting. Okay. And so that might be something that you would consider if you're writing thrillers, apocalyptic series, mysteries, anything like that. How gory does your stuff go? Is it a cliffhanger? Please expect a cliffhanger. We don't want to give things away, but at the same time, preparing your audience actually helps you in the long run. And being honest in your advertising efforts is a big deal. Okay, so let's just assume that you're being consistent. You know who your reader is and you're being honest in your marketing efforts. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about your vulnerable audiences. Vulnerable audiences are more along the lines of those who have triggers, maybe age appropriate. Like I said, understanding who your reader is. If you're writing a trigger point, like maybe there's rape in your stories, or maybe there's kidnapping or abusive spouses or abusive exes, like there's stalking or there's something, right? There's a lot of war situations that are actually triggering for people who might have PTSD from being in the service. So there's some things that might be appropriate to let people know that there's a trigger in place. Okay. This is just to identify any vulnerabilities that your audience has. I myself, I don't need any like triggers or spoilers or anything like that. I don't need that. I am fine diving into a book. I understand that it's fiction. However, I am not the norm. There's a lot of people out there, who are triggered by certain things, and you don't know what they are. So you can put on there a list of tropes, enemies to lovers, there's bully instances here, whatever works for you. Like just identify some possible trigger points and you can put them on your site. I've seen that being really good. If you'd like to see the trigger points, please check out my site because that gets pixel information, which is always good. There's just great ways you can put them in in your ad when you put them on there. Hey, these might be trigger points, and they might pull people into the book. Some people might really dig the bully romance idea, and that's great too. Like whatever works for you. So as long as you're being completely open about what it is that you're offering, again, this goes back to the honesty thing, I think you'll be safe. Unfortunately, we are in a pay-to-play industry, and the world that we live in is actually pay-to-play. Everywhere you go, like you might have followers to your page or members of your group, but they're not even getting shown, your messages and stuff aren't even getting shown to these people because it's a pay to play industry. Unfortunately, we have gotten to that point. No longer can we be like, oh, I put a book up and the entire world sees it. It doesn't work that way. Even a simple promotion needs to be pushed a lot. So you need to understand how important advertising is in this industry that we're trying to do, which is obviously authors and publishing. I would even challenge us to say that if you have a blog or something, you really want to make sure that you are focusing on a lot of these ideas as well. This is where SEO comes in. I'm trying to, like I said, work on SEO for Finding Your Indie to make sure that I'm answering the correct questions that authors are asking. So these are some things that you need to understand with regards to advertising for authors. There are some really great, effective paid advertising options in the author industry right now. As we know that there's a lot of newsletter promotion sites, some really great ones. I really like Written Word Media. A few of the other ones would be like Bargain Booksy, Librarian, Free Book Librarian. I never remember the name of that one. The Librarian one. BookBub, as everybody knows. You can also run ads on BookBub. You can get on Goodreads. You can also run ads on Amazon, as well as, link your blog there so it's on your page. Another one would be Facebook. Everybody knows Facebook. You can boost your posts as well as run ads on there. There's all different kinds of ads. We also have TikTok. TikTok is a really good one. However, I feel like, and I'm going to go through the rest of this list and then we'll come back to it. But TikTok, you can run ads in there. You can also do your postings. Instagram is another good one. Twitter, again, more and more. And there's tons of lists. I mean, if you're on Discord or you're on, Circle, there's like a whole bunch of lists out there. Snapchat, there's long things. All of these can be effective as long as they're where your readers are. However, I would challenge you, and this is where I'm coming back to this, I would challenge you to make sure that you understand you are where you want to be. Because if you're not on a platform where you really want to be, your readers know this. Readers aren't dumb. They're very smart. And they can tell when an author is doing something that they don't want to do, or if their heart's just not in it. And I think that's something that's really telling. Today, being an author is a lot harder than it was back in the like 1980s, 1990s, when we didn't have social media and we didn't have easy access to authors like we do now. It's more of a personal level now. It's more of an investment in your community, which I think is really important. And that's what we're going to be talking about over the next month or two, is really the focus on how you're meeting your reader expectations, how you're pushing your brand, how you're being consistent in your marketing message, as well as in your writing and the other products and things that you're offering, as well as your timing and. The list is ridiculous. Mandy and I do that all the time. And. Ultimately, I want you to remember that as long as you know your readers, you know what your readers are expecting, and you're being consistent, you have a much higher probability statistic in finding success, no matter how you have defined your success, than somebody who is hit or missing it and kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. Their possibilities are high because they might find something that hits, but the probability is the statistic that's actually going to help you to define success. So if you have questions or whatever, put them in the comments. We'd love to talk more. You can find us on TikTok, Facebook. Where else can you find us? Where are we at? YouTube. I mean, there's a lot of places that you can find us, and we are always up for talking marketing and advertising. I highly recommend joining our free Facebook group. Our Hive Mind group is for more one-on-one, and that is a paid monthly membership. We have so many things going on that I just want to make sure that you understand how important advertising and marketing is, and that there are tools out there with people in them who want you to succeed. Mandy and I invest actually a lot in our friends and in our author clients. So go ahead and click like and subscribe. We look forward to hearing from you. Again, if you comment, we will try to get back to you. I'm like the worst at commenting back because I'm like, I'm the worst at it, but I'm getting there. I'm starting to do better. So thank you. And again, sign up for our newsletter because we have lots of things coming down the pipeline, and we cannot wait to hear more about what you have going on. And don't forget to hit the notifications thing so you never miss a video. Thanks, you guys.